Yo! Yes, everybody, we are back for some more Jujutsu Kaisen content. And ladies and gentlemen, we're coming into the last 3 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen, presumably. Now, there's kind of some stuff in here at the very end. We'll talk about it. I don't know what this means. Could this be setting up for a you-know-what, possibly? I don't know. After this, we have 2 more chapters, but this is a very weird chapter that Gege introduced. I like this chapter. I like it a lot, actually. A lot of people are not fans of this chapter. Dude, here's the thing. I uninstalled Twitter, and I'm probably going to keep it uninstalled for the next, 24 hours. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of the bitching, moaning, and crying that everyone has been doing for the past month when people found out that JJK was ending. So I kind of don't care. I promise you that JJK feels better on a binge read rather than week to week. Because week to week fatigue is a very real thing. Almost exclusively, any single series suffers from it. It's not exclusively a JJK thing. And are there things that I definitely wish that Gege did differently? Oh yeah, absolutely. But no, I am liking where we're going to the conclusion of JJK, presumably, but we'll see. As per usual, guys, before we get into this video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. Also, please make sure you join the link to the Discord in the description below. I would love to have you in there. We'll be chilling, we'll be bullshitting, and yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have a great time. Without any further ado, let's get into it. So on the first page, we actually have Mei and this old woman that she actually walks up to in a candy shop. This old woman is very integral to the ending of this chapter here, and it's weird because Gege is introducing this character 3 chapters before the manga presumably ends. That's weird. That's odd. If you look at most stories before they presumably end, you don't introduce new characters. What's the point? Very, very odd. Very odd. Again, we'll talk about it more in depth here in a second. So on page 2, we actually find out who was yelling at Yuta, and it was actually Maki. It was not Yuta's sister, like some of you had predicted and were kind of talking about with me. It's actually Maki saying, Yuta, don't think everything's all lollipops and rainbows just because you're back to your old body. It's funny how strong Yuta is, and like Yuta's easily like, wait a minute. Is Yuta the strongest sorcerer alive now? I mean, yeah. I don't know if Shinjuku Yuji could take Yuta. Could he? I don't know. Rika's kind of a son of a bitch to fight. Yeah, no. Yuta's taking it. He's hard. He's mid-diffing Yuji though. Like I'm racking my brain thinking about it. Like Shinjuku Yuji is a fucking monster. He's a beast. But Yuta's just kind of different, unfortunately. I mean, Yuji doesn't have the 2v1 capabilities like that. I don't know. Very interesting. So we have a lot of people that are upset that Yuta is back in his old body, and a lot of people have been referring to this as Disney Kaisen. Oh my god. I'm gonna make this its own separate rant here, probably here shortly. But for some reason, people are of the opinion that the story would be 3 times better if half the cast or everybody died. For some goddamn reason, I don't know why. There are people that actually thought that Sukuna would just win at the end of the series. What, huh? What are we talking about, bro? What? I'm gonna be honest with you. The majority of people that are writing their own interpretations and endings, they all suck ass. I don't know what series that y'all watch where like more than half of the cast die and ends up being a good ending. That is not, no. Very heavy spoiler on the ending of Demon Slayer, so if you don't want to get spoiled on that, I highly recommend you skip like 20-30 seconds. But bro, by the end of the Demon Slayer manga, I mean, Tanjiro's like half cooked, like he can't use his arm, his eye. I believe he's blind in his one eye. He's alive, but there's only 2 Hashira left after like, was it 5, 6 of them? Like Morichiro got cooked, Kanronji got cooked, Ibanai got cooked, Gyome cooked, like what? And people do not like that ending whatsoever. Now, do I think that the Demon Slayer ending is generally overhated? I mean, yeah, I think it's fine. It didn't blow me away or anything like that. Tanjiro obviously was the strongest part of the ending, but as far as like the Hashira, I was kind of like the way Kanronji died and Ibanai died, I was like, what the fuck ever, man. I didn't really care. I turned the page and I was surprised that they took damage, to be honest. I wasn't paying attention. Listen, I know his name is Obanai, but I don't give a shit. Do you really care? Like, look at me in the eyes. Do you really care if I got his name wrong? No, you don't. I mean, you even like look at Bleach, dude. The overwhelming majority of characters in Bleach that we're introduced to, they're not all dead. I mean, what was it? 2 captains that died at the end of 1,000-Year Blood War? People are talking like, oh, Disney Kaisen. Oh my god, nobody died. Oh, dude, most series don't do this. even Attack on Titan, for as dark as it was, like, Sasha died, but, like, after that, what was the biggest, like, death in the main cast besides Eren? Nobody. Like, Gojo and Choso are two major deaths. I mean, what are we talking about? Again, small rant. I hate dealing with this fucking fandom, man. I hate dealing with them. Let me know down in the comments where there has ever been an ending to a series where, like, most of the cast dies, because that I'm telling you, the people would not like it. Anyway, as we go through this chapter, we have Megumi attempting to apologize to everybody. And the group obviously is like, you have nothing to apologize for. Your body got hijacked. You didn't have any autonomy. That wasn't you. And Yuji actually says that he would like to apologize for everything. And they say this actually, all of this started because Gojo didn't kill Yuji at the start, which is, I mean, kind of true. But, you know, murdering a 15-year-old child isn't really, in the best interest and isn't something Gojo would exactly sign up for. So, Dude, I thank God every day that I am not a Gojo stan, because these niggas are still at it. They are still posting non-stop. That's what the part of the reason why I had to get off the internet, dude. I was like, dude, what? Every post I am seeing on Reddit and Twitter is, oh God, Gojo's coming back. Gojo's coming back. Woo! It is a sickness. I very kindly need all you people to take your antipsychotics, please. And so we have Kusakabe basically saying that none of anything that happened is on the kids. Like, for example, he says that it's not even Yuji's fault at all because Yuji was a result of Kenjaku playing a Jujutsu terrorist, as he likes to put it. Again, the ending to this chapter kind of brings up some questions that I have. All I'm saying is I might not be unemployed, y'all. So then we actually have the reveal of how Yuta is able to go back into his body, and for some reason, Gege decided to just amp up Rika with the power scaling. So I mean, awesome, good for him. So apparently, when he was like shut down in Gojo's body, he was in suspended death, kind of like Megumi was in Shibuya, and Rika actually kept his body alive with reverse curse technique, and he actually just ended up jumping back into his body once Kenjaku's technique ran out. So yeah, Shoko already was attempting to heal him, and then Yuji's friend was trying to heal him as well. And so with Rika performing reverse curse technique at the same time, yeah, he just ended up coming back. This explanation makes sense. I honestly don't hate it. I was pretty indifferent towards Yuta dying or surviving, but I like Yuta. I think he's a fun addition to the cast. This man, Yuta, by the way, was easily the biggest. I mean, I know I had that who had the biggest assist in Shinjuku video, but coming to this chapter, I mean, Yuta was on his Cyclops shit. He was like an A1 leader. He was like, he led the team better than Kusakabe did. And Kusakabe is a grown-ass man. I mean, Yuta was making play after play after play. This man was scheming non-stop. You gotta respect the hustle, bro. Whenever I see this Yuta slander, I'm like, bro, this man, literally, we had, what, 10 chapters straight of him flashbacks of him just like putting all his contingencies up there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love competent characters. I love characters using their brain. Also, it completely makes sense for Rika to be able to use reverse curse technique, considering the fact that she is basically a Shikigami, and we've actually seen another Shikigami use reverse curse technique with Round Deer. So good job, Gege. I actually don't remember even thinking of Rika possibly using that. So cool. And so coming up on page 5, we actually have a pretty interesting little page here. And I don't know if Gege read some comments online or what happened, but he started addressing a bunch of things that people had issues with. And he uses this to talk directly to the viewer through Maki. I think it's actually, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we have Maki saying, first, I should have led the surprise attack on Kenjaku. Then there's Higuruma's executioner's sword plan. If we had used Toge's remote curse speech, we could have ended things in a flash. Higuruma should have had the tape recorder on him. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that people were bringing up that Gege actually answers on the next page. The narrator says that curse speech cannot be activated more than once simultaneously. Until the recording is played, the technique is considered in use, which means only one tape recorder was allowed. And then Toto actually explains that Maki cannot be used with Toto's Boogie Woogie, because actually, if you remember, Toto says that like he basically Boogie Woogie replaces anything with curse energy, and there's like curse energy with pretty much everything, as low as it is, as like low as like a fucking rock maybe or something like that. It's gonna have like something on it. Like when Toto threw that hanger at one of Mahito's transfigured humans, and then he like, you know, smacked it in the back of the fucking head. it had curse energy, but Maki has 0, so she can't be used with it. And then Toto says, betting on Yuta succeeding in the surprise attack without my help would have been extremely risky. Not to mention, Okotsu and Rika's powers were necessary to stop the rampaging cursed spirits. This is very true. The last part's very true. No, the first part, I mean, the author's saying it, but, like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I haven't seen anything that Kenjaku did that necessarily warranted a reaction of me thinking that Yuta wouldn't slam him in a fight, to be honest. I mean, especially considering the fact that Rika has reverse curse technique, like she can just breathe on these curses and just poof. Like, I don't know, like I'm assuming that Kenjaku's domain was just like death. I'm assuming like death perfusion with some crazy shit or something. I don't know. And then we have Panda on the next page, on page 6, where he says Toge's cursed speech only worked because that timing made the reaction survivable. The only thing with the tape recorder plan is that the hollow purple didn't really do that much. Kind of took his skin off, but like that was it. It didn't really do a lot. Panda says we used it when Sukuna was feeling fine and Danny Toge would have been killed by the feedback. This is very true. This is very true. We actually saw this in season 1 where, you know, Inumaki walked up on Hanami and said Sukiyamada! And like got blown back, so you know it makes sense. He probably just would have been. And well, look who we see on page 6. My brother back from the dead. Yes, sir, man. Higuruma is here. Now, I want y'all to remember what I say, man. What I say. I need one of y'all to find the video. I said I don't think Higuruma's dead. I don't know. I wasn't sure about all that. And the reason I said months ago that I didn't think Higuruma was dead, it just felt weird. And the thing is that they made a whole thing about Higuruma having as much potential as Gojo and bibbidi bobbidi boobidi. He had this really cool splash page on the end, and like he died immediately after that. Like it felt weird to me. Like people like diss Gege's pen all the time, but I don't know, that did not feel cohesive to me. Honestly, I mean, it makes sense. If I was writing a story, I'd probably do something similar, considering the fact, I mean, Executioner's Sword, that's a pretty big fucking trump card to have. And honestly, I think Gege kind of wrote himself into a hole by putting it in the story this early. I think when he introduced that in the Cullen games, he's like going to Shinjuku. He was kind of like, oh shit. Like, oh, I have to do this. I can't have Higuruma knocked out the entire time, so I guess I gotta kill him. Higuruma says that Sukuna was just toying with him. He was capable of killing me whenever he wanted to, and if someone like Okotsu were there, he would have done so. Higuruma says that cursed speech is easy to counter. Higuruma says I'm the one who decided best to use it inside Yuta's domain with no one else around to interfere. Higuruma says I'm the one who decided best to use it inside Okotsu's domain with no one else around to interfere. With no violence allowed inside my domain, that would have been possible. So the tape recorder plan was actually Higuruma's. So that's pretty cool. And Akusa Kabe says it's pretty scary how a guy that's only been a sorcerer for 2 months is alive and gifting after all that. And Higuruma says it wasn't intentional. So yeah, he did have like a very similar thing that Gojo had where he would like reverse curse technique. I mean, people like, I don't know what people thought. Gojo literally got stabbed like, what, 4 times in like, Gojo got stabbed like what 3-4 times in his right thigh by Toji. Got stabbed in the head, he stabbed in the chest and everything, and he still lived. He was still like on death's door, and he lived. So like when people see that Higuruma got slashed to hell, I mean, we've seen crazier stuff happen. I mean, Hikari literally got his face blown off, and like his liver just like fell out of his body, and he just. So like what are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about? This whole chapter is just Maki heating everybody's ass up, bro. She like starts talking about Miguel, said that Miguel and Laura were there earlier, things would have been different, which is very true. And everyone around them says, yeah, that's pretty true, because, I mean, Yuta was like, they said they weren't coming, they said they didn't want anything to do with it, which, I mean, for the characters, it makes sense. I'm not going over there, I'm not fighting Sukuna, fuck that. That nigga just stays in Japan. I'm staying in Mother Africa, bro, I'm good. So you have confirmation on what the curse tools were. They were actually Yuta's that he gave to Yuji, and they were actually to hide his fingers in Yuji's. And then Maki says you could just gone to Home Depot for that shit, which is pretty funny. I mean, yeah. And then this was crazy. I didn't really think of this, but apparently the whole like spectating thing, the like where everybody was and like how they kind of fell from the sky, yeah, that was Rika. They were all chilling inside of Rika with like the TV screens and everything. That is I mean, sure, whatever. How is this possible? Like, what internet does Rika have? Does she have Spectrum? Spectrum is so shit, dude. Spectrum is such a horrible internet provider. Do not get Spectrum. I am yapping. This video is gonna be like 30 minutes long. Oh, good Christ alive. I've had it for so long. Oh! And so we have more people kind of saying that they're all kind of responsible for everything that happened. We have Todo saying that Choso and Yuji being caught up in Sukuna's domain was kind of his fault. And then Kiara's like, oh, isn't that tech rate? Isn't that like a range issue? And Todo says it was more so an issue of Sukuna's curse energy. It was too powerful in the eye of his domain. I wasn't able to grab hold of their curse energy. Again, I mean, it makes sense in the context of the story. This is the first time I'm hearing about something like that, though. That does feel a little weak to me, but honestly, I don't really think that that's something that needs to be addressed, honestly. I mean, Choso and Yuji were like right in front of Sukuna when he started launching that shit. So I mean, like, even if Gege didn't address it, I wouldn't really mind. I feel like it's kind of unneeded, but I feel like Gege knows his fan base and they're gonna nitpick every single fucking thing he does. But yeah, we actually have Miwa saying that she was terrified and that she was actually assigned to Maki for the simple domain aspect, which is pretty cool. I like that. I gave her something to do. Also, for some reason, homegirl with the broom from Kyoto, she says she wish she could have done something. I mean, who gave a shit, man? Who fucking cares? Why are you here? why are you here? You know who's not here? My goat door Toshikamo. That man chilling with a bowl of ramen, bro. That man say, hey, I'm good on this. Y'all got it? So then we have Hikari saying, I wanted to help against Sukuna after taking care of Urame, but they were crazy strong. I mean, what would Hikari have done for real? I mean, he just would have stalled more, which is cool. I mean, that's fair. Could Sukuna kill Hikari? I don't know. I mean, if he's with Yuji, I don't really think, like, if you just constantly lowering Sukuna's output, I don't think Sukuna, like, even a, I think even Komodo Furnace, I don't think it's taking Hikari out, to be honest. He's immortal. And he's gonna keep getting the roll, and his output's gonna get lower and lower and lower. And he's gonna, yeah, wow, okay. Huh. I never thought about that. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Hikari actually would be killable by Sukuna? I mean, like, even if Hikari took a world cleave, I don't know. One thing I am a little sad about is the fact that we haven't seen World Cleave, since his fight with Maki? I mean, that was however long ago. That kind of feels like a fumble to me, man. He didn't launch a single one towards Yuji. Come on now. I don't, Gege, I don't know, man. At least a little, I don't know how I feel about that, Gege. I don't know now. But we did see Fugo one more time, so I like that. I do. I know he was on cooldown, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but you know, it would have been cool to see Yuji, dodge the world cleaves or whatever. That would have been sick. So here we start getting some interesting stuff with the chapter. We have Mei showing up, and I'm gonna try to condense this as much as possible because number one, this video is already going for a very long time, and I'm gonna hate myself editing this whole thing. But Mei shows up after Ui says that it was the MVP of the whole thing, which I mean, no, not really. It's Yuji, but nice try, buddy. But Mei says that there is no use betting on the price list, and Hikari says, "You mean by the new shadow?" And he says, you mean dealing with the binding vow forbidding simple domain from being taught to outsiders? And Kusakabe says, exactly. We start getting into some weird stuff at the end of this chapter. Stay with me, y'all. Kusakabe says the inherited binding vow of the school's simple domain. The original creator, Ashiya Sadatsuna, created that binding vow with the intention of simple domain being inaccessible to curse users. Mei says as the generations go by, the new shadow style was no longer of public interest and the simple domain technique became a secret hidden behind a paywall. They essentially monopolize the technique, invite disciples, and have them undergo necessary binding vows. New shadow is a cornerstone for sorcerers without techniques after all. For example, Todo, who learned it from Yuki, right? Todo isn't a student of new shadow style. For example, you have Todo or you have Mekamaru, who Mekamaru kept it in a capsule, right? I wish we could have seen more techniques and stuff like that held in capsules. I know Boruto had a similar thing, but I think that would have been cool to see, right? So on page 14, Mei says, so what's so tricky about this binding vow stopping it from being taught to other outsiders? That's only part of it. There's also the fact of being unable to refuse the head of the school when they ask us to mobilize. And the especially troublesome bit, the lifespan. This isn't so much a technique or a binding vow using Jujutsu, it's more like a curse, although who knows how true it is. Apparently the head of the school absorbs the user's lifespan. No one knows who the head of the school is, which is why there's no way to tell if the lifespan contract exists or how it functions. After all, there are grandpas and hags that live long lives even after using it. When the head dies, the school's best disciple succeeds them. However, only they are made aware of it, which means we you have no way of sussing that out. Kusakabe says only the head of the school can render the binding vows null. As far as I know, there's no one among the best of students that know anything about the head. You mean there wasn't anyone? And Kusakabe says I'm head of the new shadow school now. Kusakabe says simple domains, binding vow, and all that lifespan stuff isn't an issue anymore. So here's the thing. What, like, if we're ending the story here, is this all necessary? I don't think we really need to know this, to be honest. This could have been a very short explanation, but like, we start getting into like, oh, you use this technique, you make a binding vow, and I take some of your life force. Like, what, Gege, what are you planting? Are you seeding something? I could be wrong. This could be cope. This definitely does feel like a setup for a part 2, because we're kind of throwing in some concepts here, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, Kusakabe is head of the new shadow style, which is cool to see, I guess. And so on page 16, we actually have Meimei pulling up to the receptor of all these binding vows and everything like that, the person that's using this to extend their life. And Meimei says it's time for Jujutsu to follow suit, enter the era of subscriptions. The elder says how much you ask, and then Meimei says for your life. The elder says how'd you know I was here, that I'm the head. Meimei says I just asked someone with the proper information. The elder says no one should have information. Meimei says gathering disciples until your power rival that of the big 3 families. You wanted to take over the Jujutsu world, including ousting those higher ups, didn't you? And then the elder exclaims Tengen. Now on the last page, we actually have Meimei saying you would have needed years and years draining your disciples' lifespans. There was something you wanted to see, wasn't there? Aspirations like these seem almost priceless. And now with the Zenin clan annihilated, we stand on the cusp of a decisive battle wherein both the Kamo and Gojo clans could face destruction. But you know, things even more important than money can't be protected without the proper funds. There were sorcerers who would have managed to survive had your monopoly on the simple domain not been in place. More than anything, you were trying to turn my dear little brother into damaged goods. That alone made this an inevitability. You pay the price with your life. What? Huh? What the fuck are we talking about, Gege? I'm kind of stunned. Like, I feel like I got hit with a flashbang as I was reading all that. I know some of you were probably like reading that, the eyes like rolling into the back of your head. Like we have like economy now when it comes to techniques and all this kind of stuff. But with throwing these concepts out there, the manga allegedly is ending in 2 chapters. Like what? We stand on the cusp of a decisive battle wherein both the Kamo and Gojo clans could face destruction. I mean, you could have a time skip, I guess, but I don't know, man. I'ma let Gege cook. I don't doubt his pen. I feel like he's gonna wrap it up, but this does feel like a setup for a part 2, man. I don't want you guys to get your hopes up. Nothing has been confirmed yet or anything like that. But yeah, this is weird stuff, man. Very weird stuff. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Do you guys? I'm trying to make heads or tails of this, man. What does this mean? Why are you introducing this concept so late in the game, Gege? Huh? And here's the thing. I don't know if Gege's health has the capacity for another weekly manga, man. And that's not me being mean, me being an asshole, or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know if he would want to do it again. I don't know Gege from Adam. I have never had a conversation with him. You haven't had a conversation with him. We don't know how he feels about the weekly schedule and everything like that. But that, I don't know. We just opened up a whole other can of worms here. So we will see. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about today's chapter, man. Anyway, yeah, it's been your boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please make sure you leave, like, subscribe, put your comments down below as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Now make sure you take care of yourselves, guys, and please have a good one. Peace.